Are you taking organic chemistry and feeling overwhelmed about the reactions, mechanisms, naming compounds, and other concepts on your syllabus? Trust me, I've been there. Here are 5 tips to help you pass organic chemistry. I'm Amakemist, your friendly chemistry guide, and today I'm going to share 5 tips to help you get ahead in organic chemistry and put you on the path towards making an A. Tip number 1, master the concepts. Read the textbook. Once you get to organic chemistry, you will build upon what you learned in Gen Chem. So how can you master each concept in organic chemistry? You can do this by actually reading your textbook. In my time as a tutor, you'd be surprised by the number of students who come to me with concerns about their grades or worried about an upcoming test. The first question I always ask is, have you read your book? I know, it sounds crazy, but a lot of what the student is struggling with is covered in detail in the textbook. Read the chapters on the subject that your professor is covering in class. If you've read your textbook and it still doesn't make sense, highlight anything that's confusing to you and either talk to your professor about it during their office hours or contact me, your friendly chemistry guide, with your questions, a request to do a video on the topic, or to schedule a private tutoring session. You will really need to understand the logic behind the reactions and reaction mechanisms when you get to the second semester of organic chemistry. You should plan to read the chapters in your book at least twice. Once before your professor teaches you the material in class, and then again after you've been taught the material. Tip number 2, practice makes perfect. Write reactions out over and over and over and over and over.
Over and over and over and over.
And over and over and over and over again until you can write the product, reagent, or reactant when given a problem with one of these ingredients missing. For practicing mechanisms, write each one out at least 5 times. You'll know that you've mastered the mechanism once you're able to write it out without having to refer to your notes or textbook. Also, work suggested problems in the textbook or online, homework problems, and problems from the Amakemist example problem videos and worksheets. Redo these problems until you're able to answer each one correctly on the first try. The main takeaway is to do lots of practice problems and focus on areas of weakness. The more you practice, the more comfortable you will be on test day and throughout the semester. Tip number 3, identify areas of weakness. As you do practice or homework problems, pay attention to the areas you're struggling with the most. These are your areas of weakness. The same applies to when you get your test back. The problems that you missed on the test are concepts that you need to restudy. Refer back to tip number 1, where I suggested visiting your professor during office hours or scheduling a private tutoring session with me. Another suggestion is to study with a group of people or at least one other person. This is because you can learn different methods and techniques from your peers and also teach them what you know. If you find that you are able to explain a concept to another person, then you have definitely mastered it. Tip number 4, stay ahead. Part of being successful in organic chemistry is having a plan and sticking to it. Go through your syllabus and add dates for your lectures, assignments, and tests to your calendar. Be sure to add reminders to read chapters, do practice problems, and study a week or 2 in advance of the dates on your syllabus. This will give you time to familiarize yourself with the next topic your professor will cover. You can do this by reading the appropriate section in your textbook and checking out Amakemist detailed study guides. You can contact me if you want a study guide that is personalized to your chemistry syllabus. Staying ahead is a good way to make sure that you're sticking to the 3 previous tips and setting yourself up for success. Tip number 5, take useful notes. The best way to approach this is to have a separate notebook dedicated to your organic chemistry course. Each page that you take notes on in this notebook should be divided into 2 sections. Write the notes that you take when you're in class in one section and write your own personal notes in the other section. Your personal notes will be things that you jot down when watching helpful YouTube videos and when reading the textbook. Both sides of the page should correspond to one another. Make sure to leave space so that if there is something you don't understand, you can go back and add notes to that section once you have a better understanding. Another suggestion for taking good notes is to use a voice recorder. In organic chemistry classes, professors cover a ton of material, and it can be difficult to take notes and listen to everything your professor says simultaneously. If allowed, bring a voice recorder or use the memo recording app on your phone to listen to the lecture after class and fill in whatever you may have missed in class. When you get to the second semester of organic chemistry, use flashcards to learn what reagents, reactants, and products are used in each reaction. Write the starting material and reagent on one side and the product on the other side. There's a variety of resources that you can use for taking your personal notes. You should subscribe to channels like Amakemist, your friendly chemistry guide, to find additional material that may not be covered in class. These are 5 tips that were very useful to me during my time as a student, and I hope they're just what you need to get an A in organic chemistry. So what other tips do you guys have for one another? Leave them in the comment section along with any questions or suggestions for my next video. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Amakemist. Peace.